Hi, hi, hi everyone. So, hi. Sorry, just running late today. Just had a bit of run into something I was trying to sort out. So sorry I'm extremely late, but let's get this going. Hi, Andre. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode. Sorry, just trying to get something. Hi, Nadi. So just request to join. I'm trying to. Okay, let me try this differently. Did you send the request to join? Or I should just bring you on? Okay, no request. Let me add you. Invite to join. Did you get? I can't see you. It keeps saying what? Okay, can you send me the request? Let me see if I can pick you up. Sorry, we're trying to connect. Trying to bring. Okay, there we go.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. Hi, Bon. Right. So I'll just give us a few more minutes, and then we'll kick this off. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Once again, welcome to Siblings Perspective that we try to bring you twice a month. So this will be like the third one this year. And with me today is the lovely Nodebenna Mokolo, aka Bebe. Full disclosure, Nodebenna is my daughter. So we're going to be having almost like a family tete-a-tete. So, as usual, we're just going to let her introduce herself, and then she's going to get on with telling us about what it feels like having a sister, a sibling who's got autism, who's on the spectrum. And once there's anything I need to prompt her to say, or she says something and I want her to expand on it, I will prompt and she will go on. So it's just as usual, it's free, flowing, nothing, everybody speaks from their heart. So I'm going to let Nodebenna go now. So, floor is yours. You can introduce yourself and take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. As she mentioned, I am her third and youngest daughter, and currently I'm at a university in Canada in my third year, so halfway done with school. And yeah, I'm
A little
studying.
bit of volume, if you may.
Okay, is it louder? Better?
Maybe a little bit louder, I think. Or is it me? Well, I guess if others can hear, then not a problem. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, so I am in my third year of university at the University of Waterloo in Canada. And what else? I'm studying to be a producer, a film producer. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. And so, how I feel about having a sister on the spectrum. Um, I guess I don't know how to describe how it feels because um I guess I don't have much experience not having a sister on the spectrum. um, but I would say it's proved to, I think it's had a big impact on who I am and um the things I do, I believe. While of course it has had its difficulties just when we're growing up and trying to navigate what does being on the spectrum mean, and what does it mean when I'm getting like in fights with my sister, or what does it mean when I'm just talking to her about anything, just trying to navigate that like aspect of things has obviously like shown its hardships, because I mean, since like she's older than me, so I look at her as an older sister, obviously. But since I do have another older sister, there's times when it's like I can't, I guess, speak to them in the same way, because there's things that might be taken differently, or approaches that I might have to use differently. I know fights with the both of them had their own differences. Obviously, there were still fights and all, but um, yeah, I think it's it's, it's not easy, but I would say it's gotten easier the more time I spend with her, and obviously get to know her more and more, know what she likes and what she doesn't like, and um, how to speak to her when she's upset about something, and things like that.
Okay, so when you say, so let's talk about like a fight. Okay, so when you say fight, what would that look like? You know, for people, you know, sometimes some people may think of fisticuffs and being girls, there's the verbal exchange and that sort of thing. So, I mean, what does a fight look like, and how have you managed it, or how has she managed it, that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Or what would lead to a fight, for instance?
Mm-hmm. Um, well, one thing I'll say is I don't think we don't fight as much as we used to, which is obviously good. But when we did used to, it would mostly be, I think most of it would be verbal, yelling, just yelling, and not like,
It would be what?
it
Sorry.
would be mostly yelling, so verbal fights, just arguing about who knows what. Um, I don't think we ever had any directly physical fights, other than mm, yeah, the most of our fights were verbal, and like it would mostly be I would get so angry that I would just stop. I would just stop speaking. I would just I give up and I would be like, I'm never gonna speak to you again. Then I start sulking. But yeah, most of our fights usually were verbal. I don't really know how they ended or got resolved. I just know that like after a while we would go back to speaking like normally. Um, yeah.
So when you say yelling, so for instance, if you, I'm just trying to think of an example of what would lead to a fight. So maybe she wants something one way and then you want it another, the typical thing. And so how would that go?
Um, well, one example I can think of specifically is so when we were younger, we used to go to the swimming practices in the morning at school. So we would have to leave the house at like 6:30, no, probably like 6 a.m. We'd have to leave the house. And I remember this one day I was moving particularly slowly. I mean, we're still gonna make it on time. We're gonna be like a little late, but we're gonna be on time. And I was moving slowly, and got very um she got very upset with me. She got very angry and started yelling at me to move faster. And I wasn't having it. So it was early in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I've never been a morning person. So it was early in the morning and she was yelling at me to move faster. And I was like, I'm coming. Like, just let me like do what I need to do. Like, I'm not, like, I'm moving with purpose. It's just a little slower than like normal. And we argued about that, and then we got into the car to leave, and I was just like, just leave me alone. Like, I don't want to speak to you. Like, I don't know why you're yelling at me. Just don't talk to me again. And then I like looked out the window and started sulking and we didn't speak to each other. And then we got to school, and I think I ended up not going to that practice because I just didn't want. I was too upset to deal with swimming on top of everything. So I think I didn't go to that practice, and then I think she she told on me for not coming because she went and then I didn't go. And then all the other swimmers, like parents, the ones that used to come to the morning practice, and the coach came to me and was like, why didn't you come to practice? And I was like, I got very upset that she told on me. I can't remember if I asked her why she told on me or anything, but yeah, that's one fight that I know I can't remember almost exactly. But
So why do you think she wanted you to move faster? Is she like because she's quite fastidious or particular about everything has to happen at a certain time and you didn't understand that, or like what?
yeah, I think it was more so she didn't want to be late for something and I was making her late for it, so she was upset at the fact that I was moving so slowly. And um I think like at the time I understood that we were late, but it didn't seem as big of a deal to me as it did to her. So while I was like, yes, I know we're late, I'm coming, like I'm moving, we'll still get there with like a whole like 45 minutes of practice left or even more. And she wanted to be there right from the start, and she don't. I mean, which is fair because people who were late to morning to practice did have to do a few extra laps for warm up. So I mean, now looking back, I understand, but at the time, I was just like, I'm tired. It's morning. Like, I understand that being late is not good, but I'm not as particular. But I'm not as particular about that as you. And the fact that she was forcing, it felt, I think maybe like she was forcing me to like be like on the same level as her, and I just wasn't there,
Mhm.
which obviously stemmed the fight.
Okay. So at that point, did you already knew she was on the spectrum?
Yeah.
Yeah? did you understand or did you attribute the behavior to being on a spectrum, or did you just deal with her and the situation as this is just human?
Yeah, I think a lot of the fights that we had, like while I did know she was on the spectrum, I didn't approach the situation with that like thought in mind. I just approached it with, why is my sister angry at me when I'm not doing anything, or when I guess I was doing something, but when I don't think I'm doing anything wrong in that sort of sense. So I did know, I did recognize it, but I think at that stage in my life, it was still kind of detached. Like the fights and I guess, the reasoning behind how some of the fights would go, it wasn't like lining up for me.
Okay, so at about how old were you then, or you guys, you think?
Well, we're in secondary school, I think year 7. I was in year 7. So she would have been in year 8. Can't remember how old I was, like
Okay,
year
so yes, in
12.
year 7, you probably would have been around, I don't even remember, 11,
Yeah,
12.
like 11, 12, I think.
Okay, so did you think you had enough information about autism or what it meant to be on the spectrum at that point?
Mm, no, I don't think. I think like at the time, I knew that it meant um that she was different in some way, but I didn't understand how that um would come out in her actions. So yeah, I don't think like I had enough information to maybe assess each situation properly. And like, I guess like all I knew about autism at the time was my sister has it, and when she was younger, she flew out of the country to. Um, I don't think I knew she was flying out of the country for um, consultations and whatnot, though. I just
Mhm.
knew that that might have been a part of it.
Okay, so what would have helped you understand better
Mm-hmm.
what it meant to be on the spectrum, or what could have helped you better at that point? So we're talking of almost um 9 years ago,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Mm, I think like I guess first, if I had known what it meant, I don't know if I would have understood per se, but I guess if I had known exactly like what like that kind of entailed, and how that um like how I should like approach things differently. I don't know if I would have I would have known, but I don't know if I would have acted different. I probably would have, since I would have had a different like sets of knowledge. Um, but yeah, I guess understanding what it meant and being taught how to, um, or not, maybe not even being taught how to navigate the situation, or just being told that I can't handle the situation in the same way I would handle it with like Mesoma, for example.
Okay. Good. So, for those listening, this is the reason I asked that question, like of Nodebenna, is because, like I said, that's part of why this whole series started. Because I look back, um, maybe like a year or two ago, and I realized that, or probably longer than 2 years ago, and I realized that I wasn't sure that, or I didn't think that Nodebenna and her oldest sister, not the one on the spectrum, the oldest one, had been given enough information to deal with the situation as you've just heard her say. And I thought to myself, okay, no, this isn't fair. At that time, I had to start giving them things to read, things to watch, and all of that to kind of get, let them have more information and have some more discussions, because they really used to like really fight fight a lot. Even her sister herself said, I think it was we're in 2023 now, 2021 Christmas, that she said to herself, oh mom, this is the best Christmas, we didn't fight. And so thinking of all of that, I realized that, and about everything that had gone on, I realized that as parents, we don't quite, um, what's it called, equip the environment to deal or handle whatever it is that's going on. And so that's what led to the siblings perspective. So we're hoping that as we speak about these things and to the issues, you'll have more information. You can speak to somebody. If you're a parent, just have a look back and say to yourself, oh, this is where the gap is, and what I need to do to begin to close that gap. And for siblings really to be able to have, like we said, that voice, say what the impact has been on them, and we'll see how to help them along, whether support groups or whatever, but basically for them to understand that we necessarily don't have to treat the children or them treat their siblings differently, but the neurotypical ones, can be better equipped to deal with the situations and probably guide their own siblings, whether they're older or younger, much better. So carry on.
Um, yeah, I mean, just like you said, I think a big part of growing up with a sibling on the spectrum not just comes like, obviously, yes, it impacts like everyone involved, both the person on the spectrum, the family around them, but there's a I think there's not enough understanding in, well, the world really, for people to know how to navigate such situations, because it's not easy. It definitely has its trials, but but I think as I've grown and obviously gotten to spend more time with her and know her as a person, I've obviously understood like what she's like, what, like how to, like what would, or like how things would be interpreted to her. So like when I'm talking to her about something and she's clearly upset, there's like certain steps that you have to take, so that even if like it does make her more upset, at least like, if I understand that she knows what I'm saying, and like um she hears what I'm saying and she understands why I'm saying it, and I also understand why she's upset and how she's taking the things I'm saying, it definitely makes the situation a lot easier on the both of us, because it means, I mean, honestly, I don't think Nulia and I have fought in a very long time, and I think that's because um, we've been able to understand one another better as like time goes on. I would say like especially I think um when Mesama moved to Canada and it was just me and her, I think we at the beginning we did fight a little bit more, just just because I guess there was no one else to focus on other than ourselves. But I think that time, while it did prove difficult from fighting so much, it did also allow us to help each other grow and understand each other better because um, we, yeah, again, we were really only looking at each other. I mean, went to school together, we came back together, stayed in the same room, did like mostly everything together. So like with that, we're slowly able to understand, I guess, what each other wanted out of a conversation or what each other was saying. And like in a conversation, I guess even when disagreements came up, there was, because I know one thing on like for me is that I still am like when I'm in like not just when I'm just tired and not in a good mood, the tone of my voice changes, and sometimes that can make people think I'm angry at them. And I mean, I like when I am upset, I still sorry, not when I'm upset, when I am tired or just upset about being tired, then like even when I'm talking to Nulia, other people think that I'm angry at her, but I think, or at least I would hope that she understands that that's not what's happening. That it's just, you know, like I don't know. I think there's a certain level of communication or things that um, we sometimes don't have to say and we just understand, just from like
Okay.
being
Okay.
around each other.
Sorry, in terms of so that's the communication part. So when you think of social skills, how have you guys fared with that? I mean, the whole social skills context, whether it's just whether it's going out together, being amongst people, that sort of thing.
Mm, I think um, we haven't gone out just the both of us alone together a lot. I mean, we did when we were in NCC and we would go to Vaughan or Mississauga for like a break or something. We would obviously be alone then. I think like it wasn't like I was able to like so like if so like on the Toronto transit, obviously there's a lot of questionable people roaming around, and I remember sometimes she would like point it out and I'm just like, and yeah, I obviously like acknowledge, yeah, that's strange, but like I'll be like, yeah, that's strange, but like just don't like just ignore them, like just pretend like they're not there. Because and I think like usually she doesn't ask why, because I feel like it becomes understandable that yeah, I probably shouldn't engage with this person because he's strange and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I think and like usually everything like it's like talking is fine. Like when we were in NCC, like, and she would come to talk to me while I was with my friends, or I would go to talk to her while she was with her friends. It wasn't it didn't like I don't know what word to use, but I mean it was simpler. Because I mean, when we're in Nigeria, it would mostly be like, first of all, we didn't really hang out in the same areas,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really like going to talk to the older people because they scared me. but, uh, but I mean, I think over time, like it's been easier to communicate certain social cues. So like one thing I've noticed is now she, like, before she didn't used to like jokes at all. She used to not like any of them at all, but now she can, like, now I think it's easier. She can tell when someone's making a joke, and she makes jokes herself too. So I think like
Mm-hmm.
with time it's become easier for uh both of us to be able to navigate such things where like um I wouldn't be confused as to why she doesn't understand a certain social cue.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being like, what? I would be more so like, well, it's just something that people do, or I'm able to explain it in a more, I guess, coherent way.
Mm-hmm.
And she's able to like understand it and I guess apply it,
Yeah.
if that's the right word. Yeah, she apply it as well. So yeah, it used to be a lot harder um in certain
To
like
deal with all the social cues and things.
yeah, yeah, but I think now obviously with um more experience, and I think also being in a different environment, so like from living at home in Nigeria to living on a dorm in Canada as well, um might have also helped, because
Okay.
obviously it's not, you're not like doing the same, like you're still living with people, but you can't, like there's certain things that you have to pick up on, because while you are living with these people, they're not exactly so close to you that you can act like the entire place is your home and act like you would around your family and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
um,
Okay. So when you think about the social, you're speaking of social cues and all of that. So are there situations that have seemed awkward in terms of how she's interacted with the environment, or you're together, like, those situations that you kind of feel embarrassed, or like, not just now, even earlier, like when you said, oh, you'll be speaking with your friends and then she'll come and that sort of thing. How would you respond, or how did you respond? You'd be with your friends and she'll come, and then maybe there'll be like an awkward comment or something.
mhm.
So can you speak to that?
I think like when we were younger, I was more so like I would rather only speak to you at home, because yeah, like there were certain social cues that she wouldn't pick up on, and I didn't want my friends to be like, or my friends, to be like, why is she doing that? That's so weird. And obviously, always one thing in my mind was always um, like I understand that some of the things that she does is not considered quote unquote normal, and while yes, that did bug me. I didn't appreciate it when other people would point it out. So I would more so just prefer not to have the interaction and bring up, like, have those questions be brought up. But I think now it's like now I like, oh, I don't really like I don't know how to explain. So like right now with my friends, like I they I mean they know Mesama is my sister, and then sometimes I say, oh yeah, um Mesama and I's other sister, and I'd say something about her, and they'd be like, oh, you have another sister? I'd be like, oh yeah, she's at Windsor. So like I don't feel the need to point it out, but when it, like, if something comes up and it needs to be mentioned, then I'm like, yeah, she's on the spectrum, like, it's a thing. And some people have asked, like, oh, what does that mean? And then I explain it to them, like, oh, it just means that there's certain, like, I think I explain it differently to different people. I don't think I have one explanation for
One
it, because I mean,
explanation.
it's a spectrum. So I think the way I usually explain it is like there's there's social cues that are harder for, like, some things that are easy for us are not so easy for her to understand. So like some social cues, or like some um even some stuff at like school, or just in like how people should act in certain relationships and things like that. And I'm like, I mean, and like they don't usually like press on questions and all that, because I mean, like it's like
Okay, so if I pick up on that,
mm-hmm.
okay, previously, when you think about high school, finishing secondary, and then now,
Mm-hmm.
so then is it that you didn't have enough information or understanding, so you'd rather not get into or have her around, versus now that you feel that you have a little more understanding, so you're better able to just respond to people? So which was it?
Mm-hmm. I think well, yeah, it might have, like, yeah, I didn't obviously have enough information, and it was difficult to like explain to people and whatnot. I think it wasn't more so about how difficult it was to explain it. It was more so like I don't want anything embarrassing to happen, because I mean I was already pretty embarrassing in in primary and secondary school, and I guess I didn't want more targets on my back, kind of things. So I was more so like please just like don't like do anything that could reflect negatively on me, I guess. But now, like, so I guess, yeah, back then it was both the lack of information and the, like, being a child, you don't want like your family to embarrass you in any sort of situation. So I guess it was like a combination of that. So like, while yes, my family can embarrass me, I feel like she could embarrass me more. But now I think because I have more information, and because I would like to think I've grown a little, is like I understand that she she's not trying to embarrass me. She's like, if anything, that's like the complete opposite of what she's trying to do, and I shouldn't um I shouldn't keep acting in such a way that is going to um like, I guess, push her out of my life completely,
Mm-hmm.
because what she doesn't think or she wouldn't think she was doing anything necessarily wrong. So
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that it's possible that in trying to protect ourselves, and then not just you, those of us that feel that we're neurotypical, so whether it's a sibling, a parent, or whatever in the environment, to protect ourselves, we're attributing so much to what they do without recognizing that they're quite naive, as it were, and they mean no harm,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
definitely.
that we could potentially then be either harming them or putting them in harm's way without knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Because
kind of like what I'm hearing? Yeah, go on.
no, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, there's like I can think of it a certain way, but that's not how she means to, like, or like I can think of what she's doing in a certain way, but that's not what she means when she's doing the thing. And I think yeah, I think it's uh, uh I, I think it's kind of common sometimes in people that have neurodivergent people in their families. Obviously this isn't like relative. This doesn't apply to like everyone, because some people understand from the beginning. Um, but for those who aren't given enough information and those who struggle to really grasp the concept, I think, yeah, that's something that's pretty hard to understand. That it's not that they're trying to like harm you or anything. In fact, they're just being themselves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and while again, yeah, those social cues, like, yeah, they're not reading them right, but they don't know that that what they're doing is I guess impacting you in this way. And instead of being negative about it, it's better to try and understand um what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess why it's happening, so that you can better equip yourself to understand and manage those situations.
Okay. So what do you think would have could have been done differently to better equip you, or what the environment can do differently to better equip people to understand um, people like your sister who's on the spectrum?
Um, I think, well, while in one part it is like on the in the hands of the parents to like teach the children and equip them for understanding why their sibling um doesn't do or act the same way that they do. I think a large part of it also comes from the ways society views um, neurodivergent people. I think, like, obviously we can see it from history, the way they haven't always been treated equally. I mean, and I think we as like a society and we as I think that we as a society really need to understand um, and really evaluate what it means to be neurodivergent, and how that um, and how to deal or how to handle um, people on the spectrum, or people with um, learning and behavioral disabilities. Like, it's, yeah, like essentially I think society needs to not be so judgmental, and we need to instead think, okay, so this is why this person is not regular. This
Mm-hmm.
is why this person is acting in this way, and instead of being dismissive and like negative about it, I should approach it in this way, and um, I can offer my knowledge or my assistance in this way, and yeah, and then like obviously that's from society's end, and then yeah, again, like um even not just parents, like doctors can also like speak to families of people on the spectrum, because there are certain families where even the parents are so like shook or shaken up that they don't know how to explain it to their child, and that's a part where doctors or specialists can come into play, or
Mm-hmm.
come and be part of the equation and be like, um, this is what's happening with your sibling. Um, and while it may be different, it's not scary. You know, there's the things will um, like things may not be the same as they are with your other sibling, but you know that doesn't mean that they're going to be bad, or there's going to be like a negative experience or things like that. um yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, because autism, unlike when people have physical disability, like you and I, when people look at us, we have our glasses on, they know, okay, we need the device, the assistance to
Mm-hmm.
read better or whatever. So with autism, it's you don't see it. You don't so when you think about it, do you think that that may be part of why the environment or people respond the way they do? So it's they don't see anything wrong physically, and yet when this person who's supposed to be like in their 20s or a 7-year old or something behaving in a certain way that's not really age appropriate, as it were, whether it's in a social cue or any other behavior, what do you think? Do you kind of like have an opinion around it as to why people, be respond to them the way they do, if that's part of it?
um I think, like, even from like the beginning of time, people have always had a predisposition to um like to judge and persecute those that they don't see as normal. So like even um like even with people that you can see it physically, like, it's like, oh, that person is not like me, that person isn't able to do this thing like me, that person doesn't think like me, because they don't conform, they don't follow the societal rules of what is normal. People are quick to be like try and like separate them from the rest of society. And like I think, like, maybe it is a little harsher for people where you can't see it, because I mean with those that you, but I guess like if you say it in like current like society terms, like there are people trying to help those with like physical disabilities. So we see
Mm-hmm.
accessibility services everywhere, where there are ramps for people with that um, in wheelchairs or with walkers, and there's note takers in classes for people who aren't able to do those themselves and things like that. Um, we are starting to see like slightly how the society is changing to be more accepting, though I feel like still in the sense of that society is still a little more behind in the sense of um, um, disabilities that they can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be because obviously that may be because some people are still adamant on judging and persecuting those people. It may be because people don't know how to like even deal with that. um it may be, yeah, it may be like one of those things, but I think that I think there's some changes. It's better obviously than it was before. People are less quick to be like, oh, really? Um, and they're more ready to be like, oh, really? Um, but yeah, I think like with the more knowledge and uh, but though I think that's more from the work of the people in that area. So more from the work of people who are not able-bodied or able-minded, um like the majority of society. I think most of that work is coming from them, and there's still a lot of work to be done for the people who don't still seem to not like accept that and things. um
Okay, so do you think that that may have been part of your challenge in dealing with your sister earlier in life, earlier on? Because it's not something that's obvious, written all over, and maybe you couldn't grasp or quite wrap your head around it, in some way.
yeah, I think that might have been it, because while she like did everything else the same way that I did it, she because I didn't understand that it was a like an internal brain thing. And like obviously I can't see her brain. I don't know what's going on inside her head. I don't know like
Yeah.
how she's thinking. So obviously that, yeah, that was definitely a big part of what made things so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
um like because I can't see or touch or like see or touch the problem, then I can't figure out like what to do with it, kind of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Thanks for that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything else you want to kind of touch on? We've touched on how's it, how do you feel like yourself when you think about yourself and to what you've said about putting it out there? How do you think, or what role do you think you can play, or what value can you add in that space where beyond having these IGs and things, what else can you do in terms of just getting the environment or society to understand that this is a hidden disability and we need to just be more open-minded from a sibling's perspective?
Well, I think one thing that I have definitely been been doing is like um not trying not being ashamed of the fact that I am related to someone um on the spectrum. Like if someone asks, "Oh, you have another sister?" and they ask, like, if they ask me about her, then yeah, I'm gonna, because it's a part of who she is. I'm not gonna try and hide the fact like it's something um that should be kept away and locked in a box. I think um it's like as siblings, we have a role to play in informing people that this is a thing and that we shouldn't treat it in such a way that to make it seem like it's some kind of abnormality. I think we we need to not be yeah, like I said before, we need to not be ashamed of the fact. We need to take it upon ourselves that even if we're not being, like an activist going out and saying, don't be like this, or like, with the signs and everything, even if we're not being so loud about it, at least in our daily lives with our friends or in school or at work or anywhere, it's important to um like if it does come up, so like say I'm at say I'm at work and there's a new hire that and they happen to be on the spectrum. Let's say that there's certain people in my workplace that don't understand what that means or don't know how to treat that person. I can take it upon myself to, first of all, it's important to, like, first of all, get to know this person on the spectrum, get to see who they are and everything, and then work with them instead of working for them. I think it's important to work with them to make things easier. So like it could be talking to my coworkers, saying, oh, like, in case you didn't know, this is just what this means. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to act any differently around her. It just means, or sorry, any differently around them. It just means that there are certain things that might take longer for them to understand, and you just have to be like, the key is patience. I think is an
Mm-hmm.
important thing that we need to let people know, that the key is patience and dedication, I would say, is another one. You have to be patient and understand that they take a little longer, and you have to be you have to like be dedicated enough to want to make that change
Mm-hmm.
for them or with them. Um,
Okay.
yeah, patience and dedication, two important things, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I don't know if it's me or you. The internet seems to be funny, but that's fine. We're almost there. So, thinking about it as well. Is there like, do you have like any fears that, okay, worries, concerns for your sister or for yourself, or, just the whole thing, especially where she's concerned?
I mean, yeah, I do have worries more. I know one thing I'm very happy for is that she's graduating this year. I'm very excited to see what she's going to do. I guess one thing I am worried about is that, like I mentioned before, not everyone in the world is so accepting and so understanding, and I just am more so afraid that um that there might be a workplace that she gets into along the way that and they don't treat her fairly, or someone that she meets that takes advantage of her or something. Obviously, I do have these worries, but um I try to believe that um like she can will try at least to navigate and make her way through, and that she will ask for help when it's needed, and And that if she doesn't like something, she'll make it clear. I do believe that she'll do those things because she's at least very, very verbal in making in like saying when she doesn't like something. So I think that that's going to prove to help her
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So is there like any little nugget, something takeaway? What would that be? If you would want to leave anything for the for people that would listen to this, or even those that are on, in terms of other siblings or the general public, that sort of thing, what would that be? I mean, we could just go on and on, because siblings, there's so much
Mm-hmm.
experience, so
Yeah.
there's so much that goes on. You think about the emotional burden, the psychological, and all of that. There's just a whole lot. But we don't want IG to be upset with us. I mean, we can always come back another time and take things from a different angle, but in the time being, is there like, what would that be? I don't like parting words, just
Yeah.
little nugget things.
Um, I think as siblings, we need to be the ones to really stand close. Like we need to be the ones to really stand close to our siblings on the spectrum, and we need to be the ones to show them or explain to them, or I guess be on their side. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity in the world that might come their way, and I think as siblings, it's our job to, if not to protect them, at least to walk beside them and like let them know that we're available for help or for comfort when they need it.
Mhm. Okay. And for parents, what would that be?
Um,
Including parents.
I think for parents, well, I guess for, I don't know what to say to parents of older children, but I guess for the parents of the younger ones, just give giving them the space to, like, I guess, make their mistakes so that like they can learn from them. Because while yeah, it is always important for them to like be guided and shown and explained to about stuff, I think it's also important that you still give them the the space and the opportunities to learn on their own, because that would prove helpful to them in in later years. And
Okay.
patience,
Awesome.
lots of patience.
And patience. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I do know you have schoolwork and other things to do, so let's not keep you for too long. So thank you very much for coming on. And we hope to have you back some other time to give us a different viewpoint or, things. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You do
Okay,
too.
and thank you everybody for tuning in. We're going to have this up, and if you didn't get any chance to ask questions, you can put them in the comment section when we have we've put up the video. Will also be on the YouTube, so you can watch it as many times as you like. Till we come your way again soon, have a lovely evening and stay safe.
Yep.
Bye. Bye.